He stood outside her apartment, ring in his pocket, heart beating faster than it ever had before. 5 years. That's how long it took him to finally be ready. 5 years of love. 5 years of memories. 5 years of almost. And tonight was supposed to change everything. But what he didn't know, what he couldn't have possibly imagined, was that inside that apartment, Olivia was already wearing someone else's ring. Liam and Olivia didn't have a messy relationship. There were no dramatic breakups, no constant fights, no toxic patterns that people could point at and say, "Yeah, that was never going to work." No, their love was calm, the kind of love people admired from the outside. They met in a simple way, nothing extraordinary, but what they built over time was something that felt safe, predictable, comfortable, and sometimes that's exactly where the problem begins, because comfort can slowly turn into routine, and routine can quietly replace intention. Liam loved Olivia. That was never the issue. He showed up. He listened. He cared. He knew how she took her coffee. He remembered her favorite songs. He stayed when things were hard. But there was one thing he never did. One thing Olivia waited for. Longer than she ever admitted out loud. He never asked her to marry him. At first, it didn't matter, because love felt enough. But love is not always enough when someone is waiting to be chosen. The first year passed quickly. Everything was new, exciting. They talked about the future casually. Jokes about marriage. Kids' names thrown around like harmless dreams. It felt easy, natural, like it would all happen eventually. Then came the second year, and the conversations became a little more real. Less joking, more meaning. "Where do you see us in a few years?" Liam would smile. "Together," he'd say. And Olivia would smile back. But deep down, that answer started to feel incomplete. By the third year, things started to change. Not loudly, not dramatically, but subtly, quietly. The kind of change that creeps in without warning. Friends started getting engaged. Social media filled with proposals, celebrations, rings, moments. And every time Olivia saw one, she felt something she didn't want to admit. Not jealousy, but a quiet question. When will it be my turn? She never pressured him, never gave ultimatums, never demanded anything, because she believed if he wanted to, he would. So she waited, and waited, and waited, until waiting stopped feeling like patience and started feeling like doubt. Liam thought everything was fine, because from his perspective, it was. They still laughed, still spent time together, still looked like a happy couple. But what he didn't see was what Olivia was slowly losing. Certainty, security, and the feeling of being chosen. It didn't happen in one big moment. There was no dramatic turning point, just a series of small ones. A conversation where he avoided the topic. A joke that didn't land the same way anymore. A "not yet" that felt heavier than the last one. And then, she met someone. It was random, unexpected, unplanned. A simple introduction through mutual friends. Nothing serious. At least, that's what she told herself. At first. But he was different. Not better. Just different. He asked direct questions. What do you want in life? What are you waiting for? And for the first time in a long time, Olivia didn't know how to answer. Because deep down, she already knew what she wanted. She just wasn't getting it. Their conversations became frequent, then regular, then expected, and then needed. He didn't make her guess, didn't leave things open-ended, didn't say maybe someday. He spoke in certainty, clarity, and that clarity felt unfamiliar, but comforting. At some point, without even realizing it, Olivia crossed a line. She didn't announce it, didn't plan it, but it happened. She was still with Liam, still texting him, still seeing him, still living that life. But she had started another one, quietly, carefully, and completely hidden. 3 months. That's all it took. 3 months of certainty to outweigh 5 years of waiting. 3 months of feeling chosen instead of hoping to be. 3 months of a man who knew what he wanted and wasn't afraid to say it. One evening, he looked at her and asked the question she had been waiting years to hear. No hesitation, no delay, no, not yet. Just, will you marry me? And Olivia, after everything she had been through, after all the waiting, after all the silence, said yes. But Liam still didn't know. Funny how life works. The same week Olivia said yes, Liam made a decision. After years of hesitation, he finally understood what he had been afraid of. Not commitment, but timing, expectations, pressure. And when he finally let go of that fear, he became ready. He bought the ring, planned the moment, rehearsed the words. Everything he had delayed was finally happening. He was going to propose. He stood outside her apartment, heart racing, ring in his pocket. Everything felt right. Everything felt aligned. Everything felt perfect. He knocked. The door opened. Olivia stood there. Same face, same eyes, same woman he had loved for 5 years. For a moment, nothing had changed. Until he saw it. Her hand moved slightly, and there it was. A ring. Not his. Silence. Everything stopped. What is that? His voice was quiet, controlled, but breaking underneath. Olivia looked at him, and in that moment, she knew. There was no hiding it anymore. I'm engaged. 5 years. Reduced to 3 words. Liam laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it didn't make sense. How? When? Who? I waited for you. Her voice cracked. For years, I waited. I thought you would choose me. I thought you just needed time. But time kept passing, and nothing changed. Liam slowly reached into his pocket and pulled out the ring. The one meant for her. The one that came too late. Olivia stared at it, and for a moment, everything she had built over the last 3 months felt fragile. Tears filled her eyes, because she realized something painful. If he had done this earlier, everything would have been different. But he didn't. And now, it was too late. Love wasn't the problem. Fear was. Delay was. Timing was. And sometimes, that's all it takes to lose someone forever. If you were Liam, would you have waited that long? If you were Olivia, would you have stayed? Tell me in the comments. And if you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.